Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and today I'm joined by Derek.
Hey everybody, how you doing?
We are back covering Wicked Wicked Games, episodes 37 to 45. We watched a lot.
Yeah.
So I will roll the credits and we will get right into it. So automatically, I always want to talk about like the last thing I saw in like the last
Mhm.
episode, but I'm like, no, you got to go back to the
We
beginning.
gotta go back to the beginning, yeah.
So last we saw, Lonnie was in a car accident because Blythe cut her brakes.
Yep.
And I was kind of speculating, will she survive?
Mhm.
Because who knows? Hope's dead, or so we
Mhm.
think.
Right.
um, she did survive. And she has short-term memory loss.
Yes. Mhm.
So she doesn't really remember why she was driving.
Mhm.
Or that she has dirt on Blythe, perhaps.
Yeah, she doesn't remember that either.
Because she doesn't seem like she's like skeptical of Blythe at the moment.
Yeah.
Um I laughed because Vi came to the tides looking for her or to
Mhm.
see if Blythe knew where she was.
Right.
And she pretended like she didn't. And
Mhm.
then Vi got the phone call that she was in an accident and
Mhm.
Blythe played like, oh my goodness. Like
Like a little
that's
face.
tragic.
Right. Well, I thought it was
Uh,
funny because she's mentioned, like, it's only been 2 weeks since they met. I'm like, so in all that time, 2 weeks has gone by? Like,
really?
yeah,
I
like, a lot for 2 weeks.
feel like they met in episode 10.
Yeah, I know.
I'm exhausted for them. That's a
Right?
lot to happen in 2 weeks.
Mhm.
Um, last we saw Theo, he lost the house now in
Mhm.
gambling, um, which he lost to a guy that was working for Blythe,
Yes.
and the dealer was probably working for her also, so
Mhm.
that he would purposefully lose.
Mhm.
Um, the guy that she hired meets up with him. He looks so familiar. I feel like he was on an ABC soap, like
Yeah,
Tenement Hospital or
I
something.
didn't I didn't see him on the IMDb, so I don't know who he is.
um, but he gives her, I guess, the deed to the house,
Mhm.
and her and Benjamin's the lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Come to the house, and Theo gets all pissed. He's like, "What are you doing here? You're trespassing." And she
Mhm.
basically tells him that she now owns the house and that he
Mhm.
has 2 days to vacate. She kinda
Mhm.
waves, I guess, the deed or whatever in his face, and
Mhm.
he responds by strangling her.
Yeah, again.
Again. Um, and at first I was like, "Is Benjamin not gonna do anything?" But then he eventually stepped in and, like, punched him in the gut to get him off of
Yeah.
her,
Uh-huh.
and she just laughed it off.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you caught this, but she was like, "Strangling somebody to death isn't as easy as it looks." I was like, "Oop,
Yeah, I
referencing
remember
herself?"
that. Oh, yeah. Mhm. Ask Hope.
Yeah, which also, I feel like Theo doesn't care that Hope's gone. She's been gone, although it has only been 2 weeks, and she hasn't
Mhm.
been gone the full 2 weeks, so maybe that's why he's not as worried.
Yeah, I feel like he's not worried about it, but he did have a conversation with Matt and was like, "Yeah, he doesn't return my calls or whatever."
Madeline seems more upset than him, and even
Oh, yeah,
she's kind of, like, not mentioning her as much.
that's
She'll,
true.
like, randomly remember her.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
she
yeah, I
had
gotta
that
call
weird dream where she
Hope.
saw the dead body,
Yeah.
which at first I was like, "Yeah?" I was like, "That's what
Mhm,
they did with the body?" And then when
mhm.
she woke up and still saw the body there, I was like, "Oh," and then the whole zombie thing really, like,
Yeah.
made me jump.
Mhm,
But I'm getting ahead of myself with that. So yeah, so while this is all happening, Brooke walks in at the
mhm.
tail end of it,
Right.
and she only hears that they lost the house, and Blythe's just kind of like says to her as she's walking out, "You'll always have a place to live," or whatever,
Mhm,
so that she could stay there.
mhm,
I know that Blythe says that she likes to use everybody and make them feel comfortable so that she could use them.
mhm.
Part of me feels like she actually does like Brooke. I feel like she's like overly nice to Brooke
Mhm.
and
I
doesn't
think
really have any ulterior motives except to use her against Theo, which I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I think she likes Brooke, but, like, she also likes using her too.
Yeah. um, there was something she said. It was about Theo. I think about him getting arrested,
Mhm.
and she was like, "I'm doing the world a favor," and she was like, "Aren't I great?"
Yeah. Aren't I amazing or something like
Yeah,
that?
aren't yeah.
Oh, yeah, she says that she's doing the world all not just someone a favor, but the whole world a favor by
Yeah.
putting that idiot away or something like that.
Um, so Jennifer is trying to get girlfriend status, I think.
Mhm,
She keeps pushing for a date, and
mhm.
she eventually gets one in the barn.
Yeah, and wasn't that funny because they kept saying Emma was working, like, why would they choose the barn for their
Right.
date?
That's, like, where she works.
Exactly. So they could've easily gotten caught, but then I guess Emma wasn't there and they because of what happened later, but, like, yeah.
And he looks miserable, like, I wouldn't
Mhm.
wanna be on a date with somebody first of all, you had to beg for that date, and then he's, like,
Mhm.
pouting the whole time, he doesn't wanna be there.
No. Mm-mm.
And then Josh went there to see Emma,
Mhm.
and Edward comes out and stops him in his tracks,
Mhm.
and Jennifer just freely walked out, like, she coulda hid, she didn't need to freely walk out and expose herself.
Right, yeah.
So now Josh knows that he is cheating on Emma,
Mhm.
um, and Edward threatens him, and then he goes back to his date.
Yeah.
He has no shame, no shame.
Mhm.
Um, so as far as, like, the whole Edward Jennifer situation, there's so many times that they could have gotten caught in the last 45 episodes, and
Mhm.
I felt like it was a little, like, a bit of a letdown the way it happened.
It was. Mhm.
Like, they were
I
just
agree with
kissing,
that.
like, how many times were they having sex on, like, Emma's desk or
Mhm.
at the apartment? Like, I felt like that would have been more exciting. It was just, like, them kissing.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so she ends things with him
Mhm.
tentatively because I feel like there's a little blurry area there.
Mhm.
But she does end up taking the ring off. I thought it was crazy of him to come home and think that she was just gonna be at home, like, waiting for him because he's like, "Emma,
That
you
was
home? Did
really
nothing bad
weird.
happen?"
And then he, like, clutches the ring in his hand like this. It was really weird. He, like, looks all, like, angry and vengeful.
So then she decides that she and Josh are gonna go away for the weekend,
Mhm.
to the beach house. That looks
Which
like a
is
cabin.
that's, like, not far away, apparently.
Right. And, they finally make love,
Mhm.
and they kinda have a disagreement. I don't remember what it was about. I feel like it was about, like, Blythe and Aaron and
Mhm.
his father and everything that happened. And he accidentally is locked in a closet.
Mhm. Right, because he went back into the closet to, like, apologize and come back out, and then ended up locking himself in.
I didn't think even think about this till now, but Brooke and Aaron were also locked in a closet in this
They
batch
were
of
locked in
episodes.
the storage or the supply closet, yeah, and Jennifer found them, and they, like, were, like, had, like not didn't have their clothes off, but had, like, a bunch of, you
They
know,
started peeling layers
socks
off because it
or
was getting hotter in there.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so he gets locked in the closet.
Mhm,
Um, I guess I should go back to Brooke. Brooke has hired a PI to
mhm,
find her biological father,
mhm,
and he finds it within like a day or that by that afternoon.
yeah,
Um, and he meets her at that bar that they always go to,
mhm. Fever, yeah,
Beaver.
mhm.
Um, and she finds out that he died 2 years ago from cancer. I don't
Mhm.
remember what kind of cancer, lung cancer, I think they said.
It was long, yeah.
Yeah. So she's upset.
Mhm,
She starts drinking and partying,
mhm.
and we see I think his name was he Candyman, Sugar Man?
Candyman was back, yeah.
Yeah.
And also Cherry was there too. She's
And we
back.
saw Cherry, yeah.
Because they had made up in a previous scene, I believe. Or
Oh, right. Because prior
yeah,
to all this,
Brooke had a
because she's now the
party.
only one living at the house, she had a party at the house, like a pool party.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Cherry came with some of the girls, and that was kinda like they're making up.
mhm.
Um, and Aaron showed up, but that wasn't the house he was supposed to go to because he was paid a visit by someone that works for the boss.
Mhm.
And I believe this is also the person that called, Lonnie when they were
Yeah.
supposed to meet up in the barn in the last
Yes,
batch
it
of
is.
episodes.
Mhm.
I wanna know who the boss is.
Yeah. Well, the girl's name is Celeste. We find that out.
Right.
Mhm.
Um, the only thing that keeps popping in my head is that maybe their biological father isn't dead and he's the boss.
That's possible.
That's the only idea I have. Um,
Mhm.
which I kinda don't want because I want it to be somebody that we've seen the last 45 episodes. I wanna be shocked.
You'll be shocked.
I will. Oh my god. Who could it be?
No. No.
Like, I'm trying to think is, like, who's capable of, like, one-upping Blythe or, like, trying to take
Mhm.
down Blythe, and I just feel like nobody's capable.
Mhm.
Is it Vi?
Stop asking.
Um, so Brooke.
Mhm.
So going back to the club, she ends up buying a pill
Mhm.
and partying on it, and I guess she overdoses on this one pill.
Mhm. Well, the combination of the alcohol and the
Oh,
pill.
yeah.
Yeah.
So she's hospitalized. So
Mhm.
now going back to the beach house.
Mhm.
Josh is locked in the closet. Emma
Mhm.
gets a phone call that, Brooke is in the hospital.
Mhm.
So she has to leave. That she calls the locksmith.
Mhm.
She leaves the door open, and Josh tells her to go. So she does. He says, "I love you."
Mhm.
She doesn't say it back.
She doesn't say it back, no.
She runs off. She's just like, "Okay, bye."
Mhm.
Um, so then he gets out. I guess the cops came because they look like cops. They
Mhm.
get him out. He tells them the story that it's his girlfriend's house and how she had to leave and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And I'm like, these are not good cops.
Yeah.
This
Well, they
could have
didn't
been a
even care.
robber
They were like,
that got
"Just make a
himself
lock."
locked in a closet. He had no ID.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good. But then because he's stranded there because Emma took his car,
Mhm.
somebody comes in and shoots him.
Yep.
That's not why because he's scared, but somebody comes in and shoots him.
Mhm.
And because I did know a spoiler that um I read that Blythe shoots one of her sons, I'm like, well, this is it. But now I don't know. I'm like,
No.
maybe she shoots the other son
Mhm.
because when she confronts Edward about it, he confesses, but
Mhm.
he didn't seem like shook by it or anything.
No.
I almost felt like he just confessed it because she thought it anyway and she had a gun in her hand.
Right.
So I'm like, did he do it or is he just going along with it because she thinks it?
No, he did it.
He did?
Yeah. Well, he did buy the bleach, and he did buy the for the blood stains, so yeah. And she found the gun in his desk, so yeah.
Oh, I didn't really I don't know. I guess I'm
Yeah.
gullible. I thought he actually just bought those. I didn't think it was for that. I thought Blythe was just saying that because anything she
No, she
story
mentioned
spin.
in that scene that she found the gun in his desk. She's like, "What idiot leaves the gun in his desk?"
Right.
Yeah.
And then she has Benjamin break into Madeline's house and hide the gun in a box. But
Yeah.
I almost felt like that was a gun box and that he was just returning her gun
Mhm.
or Theo's gun to the box.
Yeah.
Because when the cops came with the warrant and they said, "Oh, it's locked," and he's like, he said, Theo said, "Of course it's locked."
Right.
That made me think because it's a gun box and they should be locked and hidden from
Mhm.
children.
Yeah. But
But then
did
when they opened it and they were like, "This looks like a gun," and I'm like, it
But
was a
wasn't
gun box.
Theo's gun? That was my question. And how did it ever get his hands on it somehow? I can't remember.
Um, that could have been the gun that he was holding to Blight's head. Oh yeah, he did come to the office and hold a gun to Blight's head. We forgot about
That's
that.
probably where it came from. Yeah, I just missed that. Yeah. Mhm.
And she basically was telling him to shoot her to do it, and then he didn't.
Right.
Um, she looked a little shook after that. She was like, "Shit!" After he left. Like, what if he actually pulled the trigger?
Right. Oh, yeah, she's like, "Pull the trigger. Pull the trigger."
Because I guess in her mind, even if she died, he'd go to jail for murder, so she'd still win.
Yeah.
um, so Brooke survives.
Mhm.
Aaron goes to sit by her bedside. He cries.
Mhm.
Blythe thinks that it'll be great for her to wake up with him, like, crying by her bedside, but that's not why he was crying. He actually cares about her.
Yeah.
Um, he tells her he loves her while she's still unconscious, but
Yeah.
he also tells her later too.
Mhm.
Um, the doctor gives her some like rehab options or pamphlets on like substance abuse,
Mhm.
and she wants to go back to the house, but he takes her back to Madeline's house,
Mhm.
and he kind of offers. He says, "I want you to move in with me."
Yeah.
Now knowing that this has only been 2 weeks, you do really. First of all, you love each other and you want to move in.
I feel like that was a mistake on the writer's part because I don't think that Life and Violet met 2 weeks ago. There's no way.
Maybe she said a few weeks ago.
Maybe. I thought she said 2. Maybe she did.
um, so yeah, she says she wants to think about it. She's kind of like keeping him at a distance because of all the lies. So I guess she's protecting her heart a little bit. Um, Madeline is excited because Philippe now wants to meet for dinner.
Mhm.
And I don't know if this was something that happened throughout the whole 45 episodes because I can't remember.
Mhm.
But I did take note that in every like caption that was Philippe, it was all caps, and I was like, "Why is he yelling at her?" Because I was like, is she in all caps too? Is it like just so that the audience could see it because it's big? But no, hers was normal, and Philippe
Mhm.
was all in like all caps.
No, I didn't notice that. It's a good catch. Yeah.
So I don't know if that was on purpose. Um,
Mm. Or maybe
but
Blythe
the
didn't
episode
know.
ended and they didn't show who it was, and I was like, oh, I was like, really? I was like,
Yeah.
that would have really irritated me watching it live.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because usually they will show you and then they'll just pick up the next
And then
episode.
we'll end it. Yeah.
Yeah. But it opens and it is Blythe. So I was right.
Yes. You were
I mean, they
right.
kind of told us by showing her
And I
typing
love
and
how
watching
she
on the
calling
screen.
her words in French. She's like, "Parlez-vous français?" And she's like,
And it also Madeline's like, no, you've done something with him. You like diverted him somehow.
like she won't believe it.
Yeah.
I felt bad for her in those moments. That was really sad.
Also, at some point they mentioned that they're from London. I thought they were Australian.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess they are British. Yeah.
They don't speak like they're British.
No.
They don't
Isn't
say
Clive
bloody
Robertson
hell, and I don't
Australian?
know. There's other things they don't say.
Isn't Clive Robertson Australian? Isn't that where he comes from?
I thought so,
That's what I think. That's what I thought. Yeah. Mhm.
and I think maybe knowing that, I just assumed they both were Australian. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
also because I sent you the link, even though you don't watch Days, that she's gonna be on Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Our fellow co-host of the other shows on this podcast was like,
Mhm.
"You got her a job by talking about her." I was
Right.
like, "Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'm sure that's why they hired her."
She hasn't worked in how many years, and she's back.
That's what he said. He's like, "She hasn't done anything since you guys started watching."
Right?
Um, yeah, I felt bad for her too.
Mhm.
Because she also realizes that she's the one that kind of spilled all the family secrets.
Yeah, and it's
So in a way, it wasn't her fault. She didn't know, but she
mhm.
kind of was the reason that Blythe had all this information.
Yeah.
So she's kind of carrying that guilt.
Mhm.
Um, I laughed when she told Theo, and he, like, flipped out for a minute, and then she
Mhm,
was like she flipped it back on him, and she's like, "After all the things that you done, you lost the house, and you got played by everybody in that bar." And he was
mhm.
just like, "Fair enough." I felt like 2 siblings just fighting, just be like, "Well, you did this. No, you did that."
Yeah, very true.
I always enjoy watching that, like, adult sibling dynamics, because I feel
Mhm.
like it's interesting to watch them kinda revert back to, like, their childhood, like, rivalries and, like, fighting.
Yeah. My sister and I still do that, yeah.
Um, so so Blythe arranges for Lonnie to go to some special rehab to get better
Mhm, in New Mexico.
in New Mexico,
Yeah.
but she has to take her.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now I didn't know I knew something was gonna happen, I didn't know what though.
Yeah, and she had Emma meet with some guy, um, about, he was gonna bring their horses there or something like that. And
Yeah, I feel like Jennifer was like, "I could pick her up from the hospital," and, Blythe was
mhm.
like, "No, I have to do it."
No, I'm gonna do it, no.
Um, and Lonnie ends up being tied up in Blythe's apartment in,
Mhm.
like, a secret room.
Right. It's the same room she does her,
Her
video.
video, her podcast.
Yeah.
Um,
But she did
right.
that one little entry, and then it's revealed, like, Lonnie's there tied up.
Yeah.
"Oh, I have to go check on something." And then she
So she wants Lonnie
mhm,
to read a script saying everything's fine and that
mhm.
she's doing great in rehab and she'll see everybody soon.
Right, because
And Lonnie's
Violet
like, "I'm not gonna do that."
right, because
And then
Violet
she's like,
her
"I'll have"
husband. Mhm,
yeah, she's like, "I have to" there's a knock at the door, and she's like,
mhm,
"That's your incentive." And I'm like, "Who is that? Who could that be?" So when it
mhm.
was Carmen, I was like, "How is she gonna be incentive?"
Yeah,
So Carmen's back for more money.
mhm. How stupid on her part. Like, what how much money does she need?
And, Blythe pours her a drink,
Yeah,
and she tells her to come into her office to cut her a check where
mhm.
Lonnie is being tied up. So then Carmen sees her, starts to freak out, but it's too late because she was poisoned by her drink, and she drops dead right in front of Lonnie.
Yep. Did you see that
That
coming?
shocked me. I was like, "Damn, she's just killing everybody."
Right? And I wonder what kind of poison she gave her. Like
Right? So then she calls Benjamin to dispose of the body.
mhm, and he is I have a question about that, like, why does he do all those, like, things, whatever Blythe says? It's very interesting, like, he just kinda, like
Yeah, he says, like, "Your wish is my command,"
right,
and
and then that he hesitates about this, he's like, "I can't be a part of this," and she's like, "Well, you already are," so
I
it
don't
just
know. I
I
thought about that today. I was like, maybe the sex is just that good. Like, I don't know.
or does he, she have something on him? Because he does
Probably. She has something on everybody.
exactly, yeah, it just hasn't been, like, revealed yet, I guess, but, yeah.
Yeah. So, he does what she says, and he
Mhm.
kinda has a hard time with it. He's, like, having straight up liquor. It was brown.
Right.
I'm assuming whiskey or bourbon or something, and he tells them to keep it coming, and I'm just like, "Yeah? You're just gonna keep."
Mhm. Yep, just keep it coming.
So, the whole dream with Hope happened after this.
Mhm.
So, I thought that maybe Benjamin did this also, so that's why I
Mhm.
actually thought, like, that was Hope's body. I was like, "Yeah?"
Mhm. Right.
But it ended up being a dream.
Well, no, he knows Hope. They were friends as childhood friends, so I don't think he would do that.
Oh, was the one that she ran into
That
when
was
Theo stood
Benjamin,
her
yeah.
up and he, like, complimented her, and then she went
Yep.
home later and she's like, "Some people still find me attractive," or whatever.
Yeah, that was him. Yeah,
I
they
didn't
went
even
to school
realize.
together.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't paying attention to him early on.
Yeah. Benjamin was kinda like
Huh.
in and out, yeah.
Oh, I like that. Cool.
Yeah.
Also, we may have known this and I forgot it. Vi is pregnant.
Yeah.
Did we know this?
I think, like, she's been pregnant since the show started, but, like, it's just not really, like, talked about as much. But yeah,
She
because I
showed
think
up pregnant?
yeah, 'cause she
Like,
mentioned it to Lonnie when she first got in town. She's like, "Yeah, I guess she got pregnant by her abusive ex-boyfriend that she left." I don't know.
yeah. I mean, that's what I assume, but I feel like if I
Mhm,
knew it, I forgot it. Because
mhm,
when she was at the hospital, the
mhm,
doctor said, "How are you doing?" And she said, "We're both doing good." And I was like,
mhm.
"Both?" And she,
Yeah,
like, touched her stomach, and I was like, "What?" Like, I was, like, so confused. I was like, "Did we know this?"
yeah. It's subtly referred to, but it hasn't been, like, obvious. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Theo suspects now him and Taylor are trying to get to the bottom of this and, like, somehow take down
Mhm,
Blythe,
mhm,
and he suspects that, like, people were paid off for him to lose the house. So he
mhm.
starts questioning around the bar and the, casino, or,
Mm.
would you call it a cas is a casino where you play
I think
table
it is. It's like a
poker?
casino/bar, yeah.
Yeah. The owner's a little bit, I don't know.
Hesitant
He's
to give information, maybe?
he I don't know if he's do you think he works for Blythe? I feel like everybody works for Blythe.
He knows, yeah, so probably.
Well, he implies that he runs a clean, honest
Right.
business.
Mhm.
And he he's, like, offended that Theo would think otherwise or question that.
Mhm.
Um, but Theo and Taylor Taylor?
Mhm.
End up questioning the dealer, and they're just basically like, "We know that you cheated."
Mhm.
Um, what else happened? Oh, so Josh was shot, and now he's in the hospital.
Mhm.
And this is where I was confused because I'm like, Blythe could put on a show for everybody else, so she has that alibi.
Mhm.
But she was playing like the doting mother, like, "Oh my gosh, I have to go see my son."
Mhm. I think she genuinely cared about Josh. I don't think you know she seemed upset about it, like, and then she was like, "Whoever shot him's gonna pay."
Right. Um, I was thinking about it today. I feel like one of them has to die, like one of the sons,
Mm.
for there to be like stakes.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, ugh. I kind of want Brooke to just like have something good happen to her.
Mhm.
But poor Josh, like, I don't
Yeah.
want Emma to like lose Josh. So I'm like, oh,
Josh
which one of
reminds
the
me of, like, an adorable puppy, like, he's so, like
sometimes those are like collateral damage, though. Sometimes those are the
Yeah,
characters that get killed off.
yeah, true.
um, so there was a really icky scene with Edward and Jennifer.
Oh, yeah.
She's like in the apartment, and he's basically like, "This was only sexy when it was a secret," like
Right, the
the
sneaking
fear of
around
getting
with her
caught.
mom, yeah.
And she's just like, "I know what you need. I know what you like. You deserve to have the best things or whatever." And he's like,
Mhm.
he literally is like, "Yeah, I do." And then he like picks her up, brings her to the bedroom, and he starts to get rough with her, and she doesn't like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Yeah, this is what we're doing now." But she manages to like get him off of her, and she's just like, "What the hell was that?" And he's like, "I thought you liked it rough." And then when he realizes that she's not into it, he just gets up and walks away like nothing happened.
Yeah. Yeah, Edward, I'm, like, questioning his, like, sanity. He's very, like, unbalanced and, like
Um, Lonnie ended up sliding her chair over to the desk and getting either a nail file or a letter opener, something sharp from the desk.
Mhm.
And she's starting to like go to work on the duct tape around her wrists.
Mhm.
When Blythe's not around, she hides it when Blythe is around. Um, she eventually gets free, and as she goes to run out, Blythe is standing right there outside the door.
Mhm. Of course.
And I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, but prior to this, before she got free, they were having a conversation, and Lonnie was talking back, and Blythe was like, "Oh, I'm proud of you." She's like, "You're not like begging like you used to be."
Yeah.
But then she mentions she's trying to find her ex-boyfriend that
Mhm.
made her do porn and got her hooked on drugs.
Yep.
And then she starts begging him, and she's like, "There it is."
Yeah.
And then when Lonnie says you killed somebody, Blythe is just like, "I would never do that." Like, she
Right.
almost, like, I couldn't tell if she was faking it to make Lonnie feel like she was crazy, or if there is, like, an actual mental break where she, like, has
Forgot.
blocked out that she's killing people.
Well, yeah, that was very interesting. Like, she was like I didn't know if she was trying to gaslight Lonnie or if she actually didn't remember.
She had a look in her eye like she was genuine, like, "I didn't do that. Like, I wouldn't do
Yeah. Right,
that."
I wouldn't kill somebody and with a witness here, like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, she's definitely snapped,
mhm.
and
She's
that's
yeah,
what those rage blackout, maybe it's a rage blackout.
right.
'Cause you know how she'll just, like, start, like, yelling, and then she's like and then she calms down. So maybe she has rage blackouts.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lonnie's not free. Blythe
Mhm,
has caught her, and they have, like, a little tussle. I loved when Lonnie kinda got the upper hand and, like, kicked her.
mhm, yeah,
But then Blythe and she had something sharp, and then Blythe had some kinda spray, sprayed her in the eye and
mhm.
disarmed her, and
I think it
son
was
of a
just, like,
bitch, she
perfume.
grabbed her by the hair again.
Yeah, you love that when she does that. I thought of you when she did that, I was like, "He's grabbing her hair again."
I wanted Lonnie to grab her by the hair.
Right?
Be like, "I'm perfectly fit." Just, like, bash her at it and be like, "I don't touch my hair."
Mm,
Well, poor Lonnie. I don't know what's gonna happen to her.
yeah. She's
I thought
in
she, like, with this fight scene that she finally was, like, standing up for herself and had adrenaline and was gonna take her down, but it didn't happen.
no. She's, like, passed out.
And Blythe kills people, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I actually don't even know, like, what her end goal I guess her end goal was to get her hooked on drugs again with
Mhm.
the ex-boyfriend.
Right. Or
Um, but prior to that, I didn't know because she was talking about, like, starving her to death.
yeah.
But yeah, that's where we left Lonnie. She had gotten sprayed in the eye and she kind of face down on the pillow, and Blythe grabbed her hair. So,
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
Josh is okay. The bullet went through him,
Mhm.
through his shoulder.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes I don't know what to make of his friend. Like, I feel like she still has feelings for him, like his coworker.
Mhm.
Just the way she like acts and talks about him and the look she gives.
Yeah.
And I'm almost like, are these two gonna end up together? Like, is he just gonna be like, Emma's too much drama? I'm just gonna be with you again.
Yeah. And Emma was like, her and Emma were kind of becoming buddy buddy at the hospital.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, Brooke told Emma that she found out about their biological father and that he died, and Emma has a
Mhm.
really like emotional reaction to it.
Mhm.
Um, and Brooke actually said something that made sense. She was
We're
like,
very hard
um, yeah,
at.
she was like, "We have a dad."
Yeah. And I
So
like Brooke posts this um, episode where she, was in the hospital. She's actually a lot more chill.
yeah, she was shopping with Madeline,
Hmm.
and she's like, "I need to find something less,
Hmm.
just say less slutty,
Yeah, something like that.
something like that." um, Her and Cherry made up,
Hmm.
and they had a whole like best friends forever like hug on the beach.
Yeah,
um, oh no, it wasn't on the beach. She went to her house.
yeah. She went to her house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So is that the last we're seeing of Cherry? Because I felt like a goodbye to the character.
I would think so. Hmm. There might be one more, but I think that's it for the most part.
Okay. Um, so Theo got arrested when they found the gun.
Mhm.
They were able to post bail.
Yeah.
Um, and Emma can't get in to see Josh because of there's an ongoing investigation. He has a guard outside his door. He's not even allowed to have phone calls from her.
Yeah.
Um, the detective says, like, off the record, he doesn't think her father did it, but, like,
Mhm. Yeah,
they
he's
have to,
gotta
like,
take
follow
the
up on
precautions.
evidence.
Yeah.
Um, oh, and it ended with, Aaron. Oh, Aaron also started to have, another panic attack when he
Mhm.
found out that Josh was in the hospital
Yeah.
in front of
Mhm.
Emma. Um, but he has a meeting with what's her name?
Celeste.
Celeste again at the end, and she gives very direct answers when he asks them.
Mhm. I thought that
And
scene
she
kind of
goes,
came out of nowhere too. I'm like, where was Aaron like just suddenly met with her? I'm like, he wasn't even in this episode. Like,
and also she's freely coming to the office, but
yeah,
she told Lonnie she couldn't meet with her at the stables because somebody might have seen her. So now she's just like out in the open.
right. And there were a couple times where I feel like they cut things out because apparently Blythe told Emma about um, Theo losing the house, and that they never showed that. But Emma comes to the house later and tells Theo that Blythe told her, and we never saw that. And so I guess,
Oh,
and then they cut out, maybe they cut out a scene between Aaron and Celeste earlier because I feel like they just popped up all of a sudden at the end of that episode. But I could be wrong. Maybe I missed something on that one.
well, that one, he ended up there because he found a note in his office.
Yeah.
'Cause he
Mhm.
said, "How did you get in my office?"
Right. Mhm.
And then I liked when she handed him the paper and he was like, "What's this?" And she's like, "An answer, like, of
Mhm.
who sent me," and it just says, "The boss." I'm like, "It's the boss."
We don't know who the boss is. What is?
I was hoping this would end with, like, some kinda answer to
Yeah.
that. But I think that's all I got. Did I forget anything?
Um. Well, there were a couple of things I wanted to mention. Do you remember that scene where the police detective Gannon was talking to the lawyer? I guess.
Mhm.
I thought that was Marla Hooch, and she looked just like her, and I'm like,
Oh.
"It's not her, though, but she looks like her." I looked her up, I'm like, "It's not her," but I was like, "Is that Marla Hooch from A League of Their Own?" I was like, "Oh my god."
I didn't think that, but I did think she looked familiar.
Yeah, and I was
'Cause
like, "Oh,
when I saw her, I was like, "Oh, she's somebody," and then, like, she was
yeah."
gone. I was
She
like,
looks a lot like her, though, but it's not
Marla Hooch.
her. Yeah. And then I loved the scene where Blythe was talking to the webcam and she had like the strand of pearls. And she's talking about divine intervention. I thought that was really funny.
Right. I remember that scene because she was talking about how pearls are made. She's like, "The sand
Mhm.
irritates the clam until they make the
Yeah,
pearls." She's like, "I irritate everybody until they succumb and do what I want
I
them to
want.
do."
Right. Yeah, that was good. Yeah. Yeah, that scene with Hope was, I feel, was like foreshadowing. Like that whole with Hope and Madeline, that whole thing. It was a little eerie and weird, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and Madeline met that guy at the hospital, the French guy.
Right, and I remember
Mhm.
thinking, "I don't trust you. I don't trust anybody now because I feel like everybody
Yeah,
works for life."
right. He, like, bought her a soda.
I also noticed he only put 2 coins in to get a soda, and I was like, "Oh, soda was so much cheaper back then."
Right? 50
Now it's
cents.
like $2.
Yeah. It's only been, what, like, 18 years?
I know there was a line, I don't remember where it was. It may have been the detective,
Mhm.
but they said something about whatever they were talking about, they said 2 years ago, and they were like, "Oh, 2004," and I was like, "Whoa."
Yeah, that's 20 years. Wow. Oh, and the
Um,
cell phones were cracking me up because Brooke had a sidekick, and then, a bunch of the other ones, the Razor, Josh had a Razor, and then Emma had some other phone, I don't remember what it was called, but yeah.
I had a razor.
I did too. Mhm.
I think at the time I had a choice between the razor or the sidekick, and I went with the razor.
Yeah. And I thought that was funny that the Megan, the doctor, just went through Brooke's phone and was like, "Oh, just call her dad." Like, can she do that? Like, I don't feel like that's not right.
I I must have made note of that also because I was like, "Oh, right, we didn't have locks on our phones back then."
No.
You could just flip it open and go through it.
Right.
What a time to be alive. It's like the
Yeah.
Wild West.
Right.
Um, yeah, anything else?
I don't think so. I think I got everything.
All right, well, this was exciting. We are closing in on the end. We only have 17 episodes left.
Yeah.
And as always, I have no idea what's going to happen.
No.
I just want to know who the boss is.
Well, we were getting so close to this one twist coming up, and I think it's probably gonna be in the next one. And I'm just like, oh my god, cannot wait for you to see this. It's gonna be so good. We're so close, but it's
I feel
finally
like whenever I want to see something, it's usually like the first episode of the next batch that we watch. So I'm like,
it's
really?
finally
We
the
cut
boss
off
that
right
you don't find
before?
it at the very end. But like, yeah. But it's a good one. There's a couple. There's actually probably in the next episodes we're gonna watch probably like two really good ones. But yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for another edition of Wicked Wicked Games. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Topes. And until next time, have a great night.
Good night,
Bye.
guys. Thanks.